This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by OnLive. Coming up on Destructoid, we've got a review for Assassin's Creed Revelations, a game-changing glitch in Batman Arkham City, and your releases of the week for November 15th. All that and much more is heading your way on Destructoid. Hey there, welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Look, I now have a mug that rivals yours in coolness, Max.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty cool.
It's a Nyan Cat mug, and it was sent to us by the guys over at Level Up Studios. They have a whole bunch of merchandise. There's even a QR code here that takes you to the Nyan Cat YouTube video, which is cool. But yeah, they sent us a whole bunch of stuff. Apparently, the original creator of Nyan Cat is a fan of our show. So
that's
Chris
pretty
Torres.
cool. Guess what's stuck in my head now?
Taste.
Go on, guess.
Nyan Cat?
Yeah, a little bit. All right.
That's surprising.
So your mug's better than mine. We are now tits deep in November, and if you hadn't figured it out by now, this is the holiday season. It's a time for family and friends, being with people you love, but most importantly, stores are having ridiculous sales. We need to go buy all the things. Get the fuck out of bed. It's 5 a.m. We have to go buy all the things. Anyway, obviously, a big release this week is Saints Row the Third, and if you somehow missed it, we did a review last episode, as well as half a dozen other segments that drops tomorrow for PS3, 360, and PC for $60. Another big title is Assassin's Creed Revelations. We've got some details from Destructoid's full review after the break, so stay tuned for that. That's coming out tomorrow for PS3 and 360 for $60, with a PC version to follow on November 29th. And I don't know if we've stressed it enough, but Rayman Origins is supposed to be really fucking good. I still haven't played it, but everyone I've talked to has hyped the shit out of it. Destructoid's Conrad Zimmerman gave it a 9 out of 10, and he does not mess around. That is $60 for PS3, 360, and the Wii, and it should not be confused with Rain Man's Orgy, which is a game about an autistic man who accidentally wanders into a sex party.
Oh dear. There's not enough money for me this month. Too many games I want. Well, if you're into shooting guys or, you know, space, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary hits Xbox on Tuesday for $40. It's pretty much exactly the same as the original Halo Combat Evolved, except it's been remastered in HD. Destructoid's resident Halo boy, Hamza Aziz, reviewed the game and gave it a 9 out of 10 because he really, really likes Halo. Also coming out on Tuesday for the Xbox and PS3 is THQ's Pictionary Ultimate Edition for the U-Draw tablet. Max and I actually went to a charity event for this game a couple weeks ago and walked away with not only a $1,000 check for Child's Play charity, we also got a trophy for winning, which we don't have because it was stolen by one of our competitors, Electric Playground's Jose Chan says.
We're gonna get you for this.
You know who you are, Jose.
You're going down, Fubar.
We're getting you.
Anyway, also coming out is Super Mario 3D Land, and if you can't figure out what that is, please just leave right now. That's $40, and that's only for the 3DS, obviously. Also coming out this week is Jurassic Park the Game. It is the latest interactive story game from Telltale Games, and it basically is Heavy Rain, but with dinosaurs. That's hitting PS3, 360, and PC for $50.
If you've ever dreamed of going on a high-speed cross-country car chase, then you can probably settle for Need for Speed The Run, which comes out on Tuesday in North America. If you want it on the Xbox or PS3, it'll run you $60, or you can pay $50 for the Wii or PC versions, or $40 for the 3DS game. They're actually making a 3DS version of this. Wow. Interesting. Speaking of the 3DS, Shinobi finally releases this Tuesday for $40 also. Nick Chester previewed the title back in May and called it a fair mixture of old school with enough fresh ideas to keep things compelling. He also noted the inclusion of at least one massive wet dream-inspiring battle against a cyborg shark. So, yeah, that's probably worth the asking price.
That's pretty good.
Cyborg shark, Max.
I do like those. Do you guys love Disneyland and you suffer from crippling agoraphobia? Well, good news, everybody. Kinect Disneyland Adventures is here, and to enjoy this, you're going to need an Xbox 360 with Kinect and either a fistful of Woodstock-grade hallucinogens or a serious Peter Pan complex. Now, the real question is, why aren't these parents taking their kids to real Disneyland in this ad? Look at it. They're having a great time.
Doesn't this just cheapen the whole experience?
That's a fancy fucking house they got there. I think they can afford it. But Dad hates traveling, and they can't drink at Disneyland, so...
Yep. Dad's
anyway, he also got, blacklisted for masturbating in the Haunted Mansion.
Wow.
Yeah, Disney police, they're crazy. Any theories there, Tara?
No.
Anyway, that'll set you back $50, and if you're over 30 and don't have kids, it'll probably get you added to some kind of watch list. And finally, here's the last of them. Here's the last game we're going to talk about. It's Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games.
Finally!
Which They just got a title that doubles as a description. How about that? That comes out for Wii tomorrow, and it really baffles me that Nintendo will agree to do shit like this with their characters, but God forbid they release Zelda for the iPhone or put Super Metroid on XBLA. Anyway, Special Olympics Plumber vs. Hedgehog will set your gift-giving relatives back $50, and there's also a 3DS version coming out in February. Goody.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, I guess that's your releases for the week. As always, we've got a poll going on over at our Facebook page at facebook.com/DTOID show, asking what your pick for release of the week is. So go vote on that and like our page, because, you know, we occasionally give out free codes and stuff on there, so it's just cool to have.
Yeah.
Now, you and I already have copies of Saints Row 3.
Yeah, we
so if you had to pick up something else this week, which would it be? I call Rayman Origins.
I also pick Rayman Origins.
You can't do that. We can't play the both games.
I'll play Saints Row the Third then, which I played a whole bunch of this weekend, and it's really fun. Those hover jets are seriously like playing with a G.I. Joe toy, except inside of your Xbox. That's like one of my favorite vehicles in any game ever. I'm like madly in love with them. Yeah.
Well, Zach, our producer, is jealous that we get to pick our releases of the week and he doesn't. So he wrote down some of his own, which include Kinect Disneyland Adventures and My Little Pony and Barbie Horse Adventures.
He's just swearing into my ear now.
What a wonderful list of releases. Good job, Zach. Anyway, it's a pretty good thing that there are a lot of releases this week because news is actually pretty light. People are angry about something on the internet, which is nothing new, but in this case, it's actually justified. Apparently, in the Xbox 360 version of Batman Arkham City, there's a glitch in the save file system that's costing some gamers valuable playtime. There's an entire 21-page thread on the Arkham City community forums right now of people just complaining that their save files just kind of up and disappeared suddenly. Some reported being as far as 80% through the game when their save files disappeared, which I have to say, if it happened to me, that would send me on a murderous rampage at the cost of 50 innocent civilians' lives. So it's a good thing that hasn't happened to me.
Why 50? Why exactly 50?
You know, it's just a good number.
Okay.
It's all relative. Anyway, it seems like most of the people in the thread are just kind of pissed and want their save files back, which we kind of don't know if that's possible yet. Warner Brothers has said they're working on a fix for it, but I wouldn't expect anything speedy since they're probably rushing to get the PC version of the game out in time for its November 22nd release. So yeah, if you were planning on buying it for the 360, you may want to either wait until they fix the issue or just get it on PC.
That's something to get mad about. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, glitches in games, you've kind of come to accept them.
Pretty forgiving, but if
that's kind of a serious one.
Pour a few dozen hours into a game and then that just poof disappears, that really sucks. Speaking of really sucking, remember when we told you about EA banning users from playing games to reprimand them for misbehaving on the official EA forums? Well, in lieu of the massive backlash from gamers on the internet, EA has taken it upon themselves to do this again.
Oh, EA.
Yeah. 3 users were banned for the scandalous topics as talking about teabagging, using the word e-peen, and linking to a network troubleshooting blog, which is that's some bad news there.
Yeah, geez, for all the stuff we say on this show, we should be jailed or something.
Pretty much, but seriously, this is EA. You buy a game from them, and then they ban you for saying things on the forum. They will not let you play the game you paid for. This is just so like utterly facepalm worthy and rage-inducing. I don't really know what to say. Now let's say you go to GameStop and you're with your friends and you walk in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy a game. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna buy this game, and you take it and you give them $60 and they're like, okay, here's your game. You can take it. This now belongs to you, and you take it and your friend's picking out a game and you're waiting for him, and then you say fuck by accident because you're joking around or something, and then the GameStop employee comes over and takes the game from you and says, that's against the rules here. I'm taking this. And then they don't give you your money back? Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of dumb.
That is kind of dumb.
I'm sure there's some way around this or some loophole or something, but frankly, it's fucking stupid. I don't know why EA would do this. It's completely inexcusable and just obnoxious.
I think somebody on their forums just has like a
do they hire fucking overprotective moms as like community managers or something? Because don't do that. Meanwhile, Modern Warfare 3 folks are taking a different approach to dealing with internet justice. Modern Warfare 3's user score on Metacritic is currently sitting between a 1 and a 2, which is
better than I expected.
Yeah, that went up 2 points since I last checked. It was at a 1.7 earlier. But Sledgehammer Games boss Glenn Schofield, stated that he knows the game is better than that and urged his followers on Twitter to go tip the scales and vote it up or say it's a better game or whatever it is they do on Metacritic. And of course, people are saying this is a really unprofessional and petty thing to do, so now it's a scandal. Now, I'm not a fan of Modern Warfare 3. I think it's a boring and ugly, stupid game, and I wish it would go away forever. But that's a matter of personal taste. I have no trouble seeing that it's also a really well-made game that's worthy of a much higher score than, like, 2 points. Yes, Glenn Schofield could have taken the high road, but fuck it. Fight fire with fire. It's the internet. It's full of retarded teenagers anyway.
I don't understand people getting pissed about this either. It'd be like us, you know, tweeting out our episode and being like, hey, go thumbs up this if you like it.
To be fair, I think I have done that a few times.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I have.
When you guys talk shit in the comments, I jump in on my personal account and I tell you guys what's what.
He takes this shit personally.
I love it. I'm like Batman. I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's time. Swear to me. Anyway, let's take a word from our sponsor.
Let's do it. Needless to say, if you're still getting up off the couch to go buy video games at a physical store, you're doing it wrong. OnLive is hands down the best way to play high-end games on demand with no discs and no game downloads required ever. Just log on to the OnLive game service from whatever PC, Mac, or tablet you have handy, and you can start playing new titles like Saints Row the Third or Deus Ex Human Revolution immediately. You can also play on your TV with the OnLive game system, and you can even start your game at home and then continue it later from almost any machine that has access to broadband. Just make sure your boss doesn't see. OnLive is also the best way to demo games because you can play the entire first 30 minutes of the actual game for free. In fact, it's the only place you can demo certain new release games like Lord of the Rings War in the North or the PC version of Batman Arkham City. Those demos simply do not exist elsewhere. OnLive also has every kind of game you could want, from new releases to indies and classics from more than 50 top publishers. And for the first 100 Destructoid fans, you guys get a game for half price. That's right, OnLive made a limited coupon just for our hardcore fans, and they only made 100 of them, so get on that. The code for this episode is DTOID50, which you can redeem at onlive.com, and don't worry if you miss out, because we're going to have another one on the show very soon. I should also point out that this is a great service for Mac users like you and I, Max.
I would like to say this weekend I was trying this out and I was curious about it. I have not used OnLive before. I played Lord of the Rings War of the North on my shitty DSL connection on my girlfriend's 2008 MacBook, like the girly white one.
Right.
It ran fine.
Yeah.
It's a Mac. You can't play games on those things. Like it's not a gaming rig at all, and I was playing War of the North and it was doing fine. So go check that out.
Yes,
I'm not just saying that because they tell me to. It's actually kind of crazy how it works.
Right. So back to the news. November is easily the biggest month of the year for releases, and as much as I wish we could get review copies of every single game and give them all 10 out of 10s, that's not how journalism works. Or so I'm told. I don't know. So instead, we called upon Destructoid's associate editor and resident Dutchman, Maurice Tan, to send us a video review of Assassin's Creed Revelations, which he recently reviewed for Destructoid.com. Let's have a listen.
Only 1 year after the last Assassin's Creed title, we are once again playing as Ezio Auditore da Firenze, the Italian Adonis from the Renaissance era. Assassin's Creed Revelations finally concludes Ezio's part of the story and even expands a little on the role of Altair, beyond what you've seen in the first game. I know, Ezio again. We said the same thing when Brotherhood was announced, but that ended up being a surprisingly solid title that improved the gameplay even if the story was slightly less epic than the one in Assassin's Creed 2. So does Revelations manage to do it again? Sadly, no. It's a bit of a disappointment really. It's basically the same game as Brotherhood with a new location, a new coat of paint and a few gameplay additions. The new hook blade lets Ezio climb and jump a tiny bit higher and farther, but it doesn't really add that much. All those ingredients you collected for equipment in Brotherhood are now used for crafting bombs, which you can use to kill and distract guards or to obscure your presence so you can escape. It's a nice idea, and in some missions you can use them to your advantage, but there are just so many other ways to deal with guards that you will hardly ever remember to use bombs throughout most of the game. The combat system is about the same as the one in Brotherhood, so if you've played this game before, you can easily dispatch with most enemies without needing any kind of distraction whatsoever. Constantinople itself actually looks rather ugly for some reason. Since you no longer have a horse, you're forced to traverse a maze of buildings that tend to uniformly look as brown as the early games of the current console generation. As interesting as the setting is, the whole story in Constantinople, with the political backdrop of the sons of Sultan Bayezid II fighting for succession, feels underused, and you'll be hard pressed to find characters as good as the ones you've grown to love in the past two games. The biggest problem of Assassin's Creed Revelations single player is that it just feels like a rushed title. There are a lot of small flaws that fans will pick up on, but more importantly, Ezio's story just isn't very good or interesting. On the other side, Altair's story missions are pretty short, but they are interesting enough. Desmond, who is stuck inside the Animus after the events at the end of Brotherhood, even has its own missions now, which are kind of weird first-person puzzle platform things that contain some interesting ideas but never truly deliver. Other flaws are more apparent. The Subject 16 puzzles are simply absent, there's no virtual reality mode with time trials to complete with friends, and you'll quickly start to miss the real-world events and characters from the past games. The single player of Revelations isn't really bad, but it's just disappointing to fans of the franchise who are eagerly awaiting the next chapter. You will get some answers to lingering questions, but others are just ignored. All that knowledge you gathered about Abstergo and the Assassins in the past games is simply useless here. It feels like Ubisoft simply wanted to throw in another title to cash in on the franchise, while most of its attention is focused on Assassin's Creed 3. As much as the single player is a disappointment, the true revelation lies with the multiplayer. Everything is bigger and better than before, and more balanced. You can customize a million things, there's some fantastic new modes, perks are now less cheap to use and annoy people with, and the multiplayer UI is much easier to use once you get the hang of it. Basically, if you loved multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, then Revelations is worth buying for the multiplayer alone. Still, Assassin's Creed is a title that people tend to buy for the single player, and as such Revelations is just the same game you already know, with a new story you probably won't care for that much. It has its moments, but other than the traditional Mindfuck ending, it sadly feels more like a rush setup for Assassin's Creed 3 than a worthy addition to the franchise.
Thank you for that, Maurice. You guys can read his full written review over at DestructoID.com. He gave it a 7.5 out of 10, so yeah.
It's a pity I'm not a fan of the series.
Oh, that's a pity too,
There's just there's too many Italians just running around jumping on stuff.
I'm Italian, Max.
My point exactly. I deal with you every day. Now, on Friday's show, we asked you guys to head over to our Facebook page and give us your best dragon shouts in order to win this amazing limited edition pack Skyrim hat.
Sexy hat.
Covered in my luscious hair gel. And we have a few great submissions that we're going to read from, but we have only one true winner. The winner is, you win this, Christopher Erb. Your shout of hot pasta, which translates as flailing noodle pack. This dragon shout calls upon the spirit of the legendary dragon Malfadine, endowing upon the shouter a collection of noodly appendages with which to attack any opponents around them and or collect anything that isn't nailed down. Tales tell of a snow bear whose roaring once resembled accidentally this dragon shout closely enough that a host of starchy tendrils erupted from its lower body, with which it terrorized a party of hunters whose fresh mammoth kill had attracted the bear in the first place. As years passed on, the carbohydrate-laden nature of the bear's tentacles was forgotten and replaced with a more maritime substitute, resulting in the myth of a squid bear that persists to this day.
Most people don't know, but that's the true story of Squid Bear.
It was a made-up thing that's just getting more and more crazy and imaginative as we go along. So yeah, you're gonna get this hat, which you can wear and you'll look cool in your backyard, as well as this drawing of a dragon that's on the front of this, because I forgot to take it down from last episode.
You all the sky bitches.
You're gonna get all that Argonian pussy. But yeah, some runners-up. We've got Rudy Habib, who had Mendoza, which summons the mighty Mexican assassin Mendoza to aid you. He's the most feared unarmed fighter in all of Skyrim. They call him the Burrito Brawler. This is a Simpsons reference, I believe, where McBain, Mendoza, which is funny because the guards in Whiterun sound like Rainier Wolfcastle. So there you go, Simpsons reference. I made this Photoshop of a lovely Mexican in Skyrim, because they really don't have any Hispanics in Skyrim. Why can't they? That's terrible. Anyway.
It's pretty racist.
Then we've got Charles Martin, who just had "Get the fuck off my fucking lawn," which makes dragons get the fuck off my fucking lawn. And I thought that was funny because it made me think of Gran Torino, so I made this picture, which you can see right here.
All right, well, thank you guys for your submissions, some of which, by the way, were wildly inappropriate, you guys, but also entertaining. We're gonna get in touch with the winner through Facebook shortly, and yeah, thanks again for your submissions. That is all for our show today, but before you go, why not take a second to do the whole subscribe to us thing? Our show is actually on YouTube, revision3.com, and iTunes, and we also hang out on Twitter at DTOID Show, which you can follow for exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and occasional free codes. We're going to be back here Wednesday with some more news and a contest for this badass Gunstringer marionette, which the guys at Twisted Pixel were nice to send us. We're not going to tell you how to win it now. You're going to have to watch Wednesday's show to figure out how to do that. But yeah, why not just go home, play some Skyrim. Don't forget to eat and sleep. Both of those are important, and we'll see you guys back here on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Good night.